Good afternoon. I invite your participation in an opening prayer and reflection. Creator of all that is, seen and unseen, shine on us the light of knowledge, understanding, and wisdom that banishes the darkness of ignorance, fear, and repression. Even as we celebrate the remarkable successes of this graduating class, keep us ever mindful of the inherent value and dignity of every life and the opportunity and responsibility we have to employ the richness of our gifts and preparations to a world both deserving and in need of our respect and commitment to service. Amen.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the Millsaps College School of Management's graduate hooding ceremony. I'm Harvey Fizer, Dean of the Elts School of Management. I want to thank you all for joining us today in celebration of these outstanding graduates. For anyone who needs a quick primer about the Elts School of Management, it was founded in 1979. Not long after the founding, Charles and Eloise Elts met then-President George Harmon. Charles Elts was an outstanding businessman and was the chairman of Southland Oil Company. Mr. Elts didn't have the opportunity to go to college himself. His father had passed away, and he then went to run the family business. But with their generosity and the college's largest ever donation, Charles and Eloise Elts established the Elts School of Management and the Elts Scholarships, several of which you are the recipient of. Today marks the second year of our new tradition in the Elts School history. We are here to celebrate our graduates in their Masters of Business Administration and Masters of Accountancy. Your hard work and dedication are celebrated in a tradition that goes back to the 11th and 12th century. The academic hood that you will be wearing after today was first worn for practical reasons, because you studied in cold medieval libraries. We don't have that problem in the South today. Thankfully, over time they take on a little bit more symbolic role and a more comfortable turn, of course. Now, the hood is a symbol designated with colors representing your academic achievement and your college affiliation. Yours forever, representing a hood of purple and white. We are here to celebrate with your families and your friends. You wouldn't be here without them on this academic journey. Without their support, none of us would be here. We're proud to have President Robert Perigin and our interim president and provost and dean, Keith Dunn, joining us on this occasion. In addition, thank you to all the staff and faculty of the Elts School of Management and for everybody who's made this day possible. To Naomi, Chris, and KJ, a special thank you. So let's get started with awards for our outstanding Masters of Accountancy students, Masters of Business Administration, and our Elts Awards.
Good afternoon. I'm Guy McLean. I'm the director of the accounting program here at Millsaps. And each year we make an award to our outstanding graduate MAC student. This year we're going to give the award to Caroline Sampson. And so I'd ask Caroline to come up. As you may or may not know, Caroline is graduating this semester. She's accepted a job here in Jackson, and I'm very happy to give her this award. She has been a pleasure to teach over the last, 5 years now. And one thing, if you know Caroline, she'll get easily embarrassed as I talk about her, but she has a quiet determination about her that I appreciate and makes interacting with her in class a pure joy. And I'm going to miss her as she moves on to bigger and better things, but I want to present Caroline Sampson, this year's outstanding MAC student.
Sorry, I should have introduced. That was Guy McLean, head of the Masters of Accountancy program. Now I invite Dr. Blakely Fender, the new Associate Dean of the Elk School of Management and Professor of Economics, to give the honor for the outstanding Masters of Business Administration.
I have the honor of presenting the Charles H. Sewell Outstanding MBA Award. And this year's Outstanding MBA is Taylor Weintritt. So come on up here, Taylor. I had the pleasure of meeting Taylor on the first day of the semester in the spring of 2019. She was a freshman in our undergraduate program then, and she sat on the back row of my Principles of Economics class in Murrah Hall 207, and she sat there along with Caroline and with Carson, who's over here in the front row. Now, the back row doesn't always come with that much talent, but that was an exceptionally good year. But I'm not here to talk about Taylor's undergraduate courses study, but my experiences with Taylor in that Principles of Economics class really foreshadowed the type of student that she's been in our MBA program. In her MBA coursework, Taylor has been a model of academic excellence, hitting home runs in every single class. She's prepared, she's curious, she's quick-witted. Her professors are complimentary of her willingness to step into leadership roles and her ability to collaborate. We appreciate that she pushes all of us, her professors and her fellow students, to excel. And I'm serious about this. When I know Taylor is going to be in my class, I do a little extra preparation before class. Taylor has already begun to contribute to the business community, and we're delighted that she's doing that in Jackson. Back in the fall, she accepted a position at Resolute Wealth Strategies, where she's working alongside two of our Millsaps alums who tell me every time I run into them how excited they are that Taylor is on their team. So Taylor, know that we are super proud of you, and we can't wait to see how your future unfolds. Along the way, we hope you'll stay in touch with us. Congratulations.
I'd like to invite Dr. David Culpepper up to the podium to introduce this year's ElseWorks Awards. David, would you mention?
Good afternoon. I'm the chair of the ElseWorks Entrepreneurship Initiative for the college. Every year we have a group of students that work as business analysts. They work on different business projects as teams, and they work across many different business disciplines. Primarily in the Midtown community next door. A couple of projects include the Midtown Depot Art Park and Beer Garden, Coffee Pros, a coffee shop and bookstore, the Preserve Culinary Center with Chef Nick Wallace. Also this year we worked with River Remedy, which is one of the first medical cannabis operations in the state. The ElseWorks Entrepreneurship Service Award is presented for outstanding work and contributions. This year's award winner is Austin Ramey. I'll say that Austin was a very effective analyst throughout the year, very diligent, very creative, and he was a busy person as he fathered a child. Second child was born this spring.
I want to invite Dr. Robert Perigin up here to give y'all an introduction of our speaker today, but I don't want it to go beyond to say thank you to Dr. Perigin for the last 12 years of outstanding work and for supporting the Elk School of Management and all the work that's been done here. I think we've gotten a long way. We're going to be losing Dr. Perigin at the end of this year, and I want to just take a moment to ask everybody to give thank you to Dr. Perigin.
Thank you, Harvey. It's been 13 years. Maybe one of those years wasn't so good. Thank you. It's been a pleasure to work with the Elk School. I'm so proud of what you all do and what a great privilege it is to serve this institution and this school. It's my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker, Monty Hamilton. Monty is a 1984 graduate of Millsaps. He's the CEO and founder of Spark, formerly known as Rural Sourcing, where he leads the executive team and drives the overall strategy. Spark is a unique digital engineering company focused on helping its clients realize their digital transformation strategies and creating thousands of technology careers in places where otherwise would not exist. Spark is a portfolio company of Bain Capital's Double Impact Fund, which was founded by Governor Deval Patrick and partners with high-growth, mission-oriented, purpose-driven companies. This is Hamilton's second entrepreneurial venture after leaving Accenture in 1995. He joined together with 4 other colleagues to build Clarkston Consulting, where he was instrumental in growing Clarkston into a global strategic and systems integration firm with offices across the United States and Europe. Monty is a sought-after speaker on outsourcing, domestic sourcing, and workforce development topics, and has been featured on CNBC, BBC, NPR, and at various industry conferences, including the International Association of Outsourcing Professionals, Gartner, Digital Georgia, and others. In addition, articles depicting RSI's innovative outsourcing model have appeared in the New York Times, the Business Week, CNN Money Magazine, CFO Magazine, and CIO Magazine. His achievements were recognized by being named as a regional finalist for the 2015 and 2019 Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year Award, a Hall of Fame inductee into the International Association of Outsourcing Professionals, and a finalist for the 2016 MIT Inclusive Innovation Competition. Monty's on the board of directors for Ventures Atlanta, a technology company in Atlanta focused on providing careers for adults on the autism spectrum, and a member of our board of trustees here at Millsaps College. Monty has his BBA from Millsaps College and an MBA from the Cox School of Business at Southern Methodist University. Please join me in welcoming Monty Hamilton.
Thank you, Dr. Perigin, for that lovely and way too long introduction. Also, Dr. Pfizer, thank you for inviting me here to speak today. I have been much looking forward to this day, with a little bit of trepidation, I have to say, because I was afraid I might bump into some of my old professors and they might remind me that I didn't actually probably graduate in some way, slipped up. But this is an incredible milestone, and I am indeed honored and privileged to participate with you all, the graduates today, your families, and your professors. So thank you. I hope that you all have come to recognize the significance of this achievement at this point in time. The satisfaction, maybe the relief of getting to this point of this celebratory moment. And it is indeed a celebratory moment. But I also presume, as you look forward with excitement, that there might be just a little bit of anxiety as you think about the what's next. Because of what you've accomplished, because of what you've worked so hard to do, your commitment, of your time and your resources to get to this point. The opportunities lie right there. They're this close. As I reflected back a little bit on my own MBA graduation, I understand that it was a good number of years ago now, maybe a couple of decades or more. But I recall having that same sense of excitement, of pride, and at least in my case, a lot of anxiety about the future. Today, I want to share with you briefly just 3 things. I won't call them pieces of advice, maybe a little bit of nuggets or ideas that you can tuck away somewhere that may be helpful for you down the road. They've certainly been helpful for me over the past 30 years in my career. I hope that you'll find these helpful because you are merging on to the superhighway of opportunity. And the great news, there are no speed limits. You can go as fast as you want. The first idea, concept, piece of advice, stay open to new adventures. I wish that I could stand here before you today and say that I had my career perfectly mapped out with the achievements and the titles and the timelines I was going to get things done by. But given where we're standing today, right here in the middle of the Christian Center with clouds grazing outside, that'd probably be a bad idea for me to lie that bad. The reality is, I have stumbled and bumbled and fallen into every great adventure I've ever had. In fact, my very first job after graduating from Millsaps in '84, as custom was then, you would go to a reception at some of the professor's house toward the end of the year. And I remember one the dean of the college, Dean Witt, was having toward the end of the year. And I had kind of thought I would blow it off, and at the last minute decided that I should go. So I showed up there, and toward the end of that evening, I see this large figure from across the room making a beeline right toward me. And this was a man named John Christmas. And some of you may remember John or have known John in the past, but he was a huge figure, only outsized by his own personality. He was about 6'2", 260 pounds, had his nose as crooked as a country road because he played football at LSU. And he came over and he literally cornered me. He said, "Monty, what are you going to do after you graduate?" I said, "I don't know, John. I got a couple of job offers here in Jackson. I'm not super excited about either one." He looked at me, said, "What are they going to pay you?" At the time, I very proudly said, $15,000, Dean Christmas. He looked back and he said, "Monty, I'll pay you $15,000 and give you a new car." I said, "I'll see you on Monday." I got my second job at what is now known as Accenture through a phone call from an old football teammate here at Millsaps, Tom Purcell. Tom is one of the most intense people I have ever met in my life, and I've met and worked with some really intense people, but he's at the top. He called, he said, "Monty, what are you going to do after you graduate?" I said, "I don't know, Tom. I've got a couple of job offers here in Dallas. I'm not super excited about really either one of them." He said, "All right, listen, you need to come over here and interview with us. They'll put you on a plane. They'll put you up at the Ritz-Carlton. They'll buy you lunch, feed you a really good dinner." I said, "I'll see you on Monday." That led that job at Accenture to meeting 4 other like-minded guys who we thought we could do this on our own. I randomly got assigned to some 3-month gig in New York to help a company do some software selection. Turned into a 2-year gig. These guys were there. We met each other. We kind of bonded. And we thought that we could go off and do this and that we didn't have to wait for 12 or 15 years to earn that title of partner. And that was about our business plan. But we did that. That company is still ongoing today. It's a great company based in North Carolina, doing about $100 million a year. It's got a great culture, doing great work. My current company, as some of you heard, is a company that is backed by the private equity group Bain Capital. But I literally stumbled upon this company. In 2007, we were looking for some alternatives to fill some needs we have for some resources, and we found this company called Rural Sourcing. Like the model, they had some less expensive labor, and so we decided to give it a try. We used them on some pilot projects that we were working on at the previous company. And then 2008, financial crisis and housing crisis hit. That company lost all their revenue, most of their people, and the founder was ready to close the doors. I convinced my partners at the time that I thought I could make something out of this, and that the idea and the concept of bringing great technology careers to middle America so that people didn't have to move to the big cities to chase a great, exciting career in technology would have some legs to it. And so we sat down and negotiated, and we bought that business for $1. Now, there were literally 10 people in a tin shack in Jonesboro, Arkansas, with a lot of debt. We still thought it was a good idea. Today, we're about 1,000 people across a ton of states doing great digital engineering work for some of the biggest brands in the country. And so it has been literally for me the stumbling and bumbling into great adventures. So the last part of that is I would encourage you to stay open to new adventures, even if they happen to start in Arkansas. My second piece of input for you all today. Have confidence in yourself. Frankly, this is something I've struggled with my entire career. I showed up here at Millsaps, and I was not very confident that I belonged at this kind of an academic institution. I was a JUCO football transfer my junior year, and I came here so I could play some more football and get my education paid for. I didn't quite know what I was stepping into from the academics' point of view. And so I began to question whether I really belonged here or not. My guess is there were more than a handful of my professors who probably would join me in that chorus as well. But there was one day, actually in this building, now the building looked very different back then, I'll assure you, that sort of switch went off and things flipped a little bit. I was sitting in a class with Professor Lewis, Dr. T.W. Lewis, called The Comparison of the Four Gospels. Couldn't have been more than 8 or 10 people in the class. We were sitting in a long rectangular table, and Dr. Lewis was on one end, and I was juxtaposed to him on the other one. And he looked down the table at me and said, "Mr. Hamilton, why don't you start us off today and tell us why you think this same story across these 4 different Gospels is so different?" I looked back at Dr. Lewis and said, "Well, Dr. Lewis, you haven't told us what the answer is yet. I don't know." He looked back down the table at me over his glasses on the bridge of his nose with the most heartfelt, "Bless your heart, son," eyes, and said, "Mr. Hamilton, it is my job to tell you what the answers are. It's my job to teach you how to think." And at that moment, I realized and began to build some confidence that maybe I could think, I could read, I could begin to critically think about things, form my own opinions, and maybe even stand up in front of a group of peers and begin to defend those things. And so that helped build my confidence here. I then show up at SMU, a little bigger pond, a little stiffer competition. My first job there was, and I was working to work my way through school, was to match up all of my classmates with Dallas business mentors that they had selected. And it was a great job. I got to learn about all these 100 Dallas business mentors. I got to learn a ton about my classmates, even before school started. But the reality was, as I read through those resumes from Harvard, from Yale, from Princeton, work experiences from J.P. Morgan, Morgan Stanley, other places, I got intimidated and thought, maybe I don't belong here. But I put my head down, worked pretty hard, and by the end of graduation, I was able to garner one of those favorite student awards from my professors. No different at Accenture when I showed up there. Now I'm competing with folks from MIT and Georgia Tech and Duke and other places. But I'd learned by then, it's good competition. And you work hard and you get better. And I learned to compete and do well there as well. Have confidence in yourself and in your abilities. I often talk to students, especially, I hate to say, from those from Mississippi. And there always just seems to be this little bit of trepidation, this little bit of I'm not sure I belong here mentality. You do belong here. Have confidence in your abilities and your capabilities. Third and final piece of advice here. While it sounds a little trite, something you might find on the poster in a break room or maybe even on the front of your LinkedIn profile on your t-shirt that you wear. It's something that has served me well, though. And it's an aspirational goal that I think about daily. I don't achieve it daily, but I think about it daily. Work hard and be nice to people. Congratulations to you all and to your families, and especially to the moms out there today. This is a big moment, really big, huge. This is the on-ramp to a great new adventure. Have confidence in yourself and in your driving abilities on this ramp because there are no speed limits and this car will go as fast as you want it to go. And work hard and be nice to people. Thank you.
I invite you, if you don't believe him, go pull up Monty Hamilton on his LinkedIn profile, and you will see him on the front page in that t-shirt giving a speech. Now it's time for the fun part where we get to confer our hoods and hood our graduates. So with that, I'm going to call out names, and Blakely and Guy. I'm going to call out names one by one, and if you'll come up and we will do our ceremony. So first, Henry Baxter Atkins. Carson James Doles. Stephen Coleman Frank. Faith Alexandria Gilmore. Awesome. Ryan Austin Harp. Christian Nicholas Hart. Mary Deshawn Harris. Did I get messed up? Nicholas Kai Hayes. Walter Leroy Johnston, Jr. Alyssa Michaela Jolly. Carter Austin Jones. John Roland Kimball. Candace Meganson King. Jerry Nicholas Leonard. Onyx Simone Magno-Hester. Avery Evans Nicholas. Nicholas Ojanta. Sarah Robinson Peeler. James Austin Ramey. Brendan Antoinette Reed. Bree. Alicia Michelle Rhymes. Caroline Frances Sampson. Sarah Scott Sellers. Geetika Sharma. Lewis Anderson Watt, Jr. And Taylor K. Weintritt. Let's give them all one big, nice round of applause. Congratulations to you all. It has been a pleasure having you with us, and we want to see you back. At the end of tomorrow's graduation, you're going to hear from a representative of the Millsaps College Alumni Association. They're going to talk to you about what it means to be a Millsaps College graduate and your role at the college. But I want to take a moment to be a little more specific to you, the Elk School graduates. It is always fun to quote one of our professors, Dr. Beeler, when he says, "Well, now you're one of my guys." Many of you have heard that from him. If we clean it up a little bit, it really does say, once you're one of us, you're always one of us. And we mean it. One day, in 2 years, 5 years, maybe 15 years, you'll wake up and think, I wish I had Dr. Fender to talk through that decision tree with me. Or I wish Professor Hardy were here to help me figure out my next career move. He did a really good one in the middle of his career. If Dr. Culpepper were here, he could talk us through this business situation, and I know we'd come out on top. But you need to know you are one of us. Pick up that phone and call, or just come by. We're here. We're here to celebrate your graduations, your weddings, the birth of your children, and of course, your path to success. But with that, know something else. We're going to call on you too. One day, you're going to be the Monty Hamilton who delivers the address at the hooding ceremony. And one day, you'll be that Jeff Good who we invite back to speak to entrepreneurial classes. And yes, one day, some of you will be that Charles Eltz who wants to change the lives of students at this great college that you gained so much from. And we will be here to answer that call when you want to pay it forward. To those who come after you and those who are with you now, you are part of us. And we thank you for being here with us, and congratulations to all of you. I want to invite after this, I think the graduates, we're going to do a processional out, and then we want you to come back in and take a group shot in here. And then afterwards, all family members, there is a reception hall in room 120 right across here, and we'll have a reception over there, and we could take more individual pictures there. I think I've got everything. All right. With that, thank you.